Hi, fourth graders. So, the texts that we are going to read today are about Hera and Narcissus. And Narcissus is probably my favorite Greek myth, just because I really enjoy the story. So, for the WeDo, you're going to be answering a multiple choice question and a race response about Narcissus. And the race response is, how does the evidence best support that Hera is evil? For the YouDo, you're going to answer a multiple choice question about Echo. And then you're going to answer a race response about, how does the evidence best show that Narcissus is vain? So those are the things you're going to be focusing on. And first, we are going to read about Hera. Hera was the goddess of marriage and childbirth, and she is also a daughter of Cronus and Rhea. Hera was beautiful and headstrong. Zeus won her when he turned himself into a cuckoo and flew into her arms. Sheltered from the rain, their wedding was so happy it lasted 300 years. But things changed. Though Hera helped and advised Zeus and bore him children, jealousy darkened her days. She hated her husband's adventures. She schemed against his many wives and children and caused them to hide in fear. Once in anger, Hera even dared to steal Zeus's thunderbolt. But his temper was stronger. He hung her up from the sky with anvils tied to her feet and freed her only when she repented. All right, so now we are going to read about Narcissus. There are those who fall in love with someone or something and are destroyed by the experience. This often happens because of obsession, of being consumed by a longing that is deadly to both the body and the soul. So it was with Narcissus. Narcissus hated anything with a flaw. Yet, what in life is perfect? All things possess both light and shadow. Narcissus was a perfectionist, and had he been a god, perhaps he might have created for himself the perfect experience he craved. But he was a mortal, and a deeply dissatisfied one. Narcissus was himself a nearly perfect model of young manhood. He was beautiful, with firm muscles, muscled arms, strong legs, clear eyes, and thick, shining hair. He was so attractive that young maidens trailed after him, twirling lilies under his nose and sending whispered invitations to his ears. They only irritated him. They were all too ordinary, and he wanted nothing to do with them. No one could provide the pleasure Narcissus so deeply sought, the experience he so deeply craved, but could never find. One particular maiden was completely devoted to Narcissus. Her name was Echo, so named because of a curse from the goddess Hera. Hera, jealous wife of Zeus, was one day looking for her husband's whereabouts and asked the innocent maiden if she had seen the philandering god. Echo was nervous and shy, and because she did not know where the god was, she had no answer, so she said nothing. Her silence offended Hera, and Hera cast a curse on the girl, who from that time forward could never again speak for herself, but only repeat what others said. And it was this poor maiden who could not stop herself from following Narcissus. "Leave me alone," Narcissus said to the girl. "Alone," Echo answered. "I do not want you," he said. "Want you," Echo responded. I want someone more beautiful, said the cold young man. Beautiful, answered Echo with a sigh. The hard truth about obsession is that it blinds the heart. Why would a young girl pursue a boy who so clearly held no affection for her? Because she could not stop herself. Like a moth to a flame, Echo returned again and again for the burn. The gods were not unaware of the grandiose Narcissus. In fact, he vexed them. Who did he think he was, this mortal, seeking an experience of ecstasy? Ecstasy was reserved for the gods, and for good reason. A god could not die from a nearly unbearable pleasure, but a man could. From Olympus, the gods watched Narcissus reject one fresh and open maiden after another, reject earthly love, and they resented his obvious sense of entitlement. Narcissus angered the gods, and this always heralds disaster. So it was that one day, after icily rejecting yet another ordinary girl who loved him, Narcissus walked into the forest alone. Echo followed, as she always did, hiding among the trees, longing for him. The boy felt suddenly thirsty, and all at once came upon a startlingly clear pond. He cupped both hands and leaned over to drink. As he did, Narcissus looked into the water. What he saw stunned him. Looking back at him from the crystal depths was the most exquisite creature he had ever seen. Narcissus experienced the gorgeous vision enhanced by the devious gods, and rapture began filling him. He thought he might drown in the sensation of it as he crouched there, held in perfect satisfaction, and he did not care. I love you, Narcissus said to the vision that was, in fact, himself. Love you, Echo whispered, watching. Narcissus gave himself to the waves of ecstasy that washed over him as he gazed at the face in the water. He did not want ever again to eat or drink or to sleep. He cared for nothing and no one but the feelings that rushed through him to the very ends of his fingers and toes. And in time, as obsession always does, the object of his desire drained away his life. Those things that sustain mortals, food, rest, love, no longer mattered and were no longer sought. Narcissus could not let go, and he withered there and died, distraught and as lost to insanity as Narcissus. Echo stumbled into a nearby cave, and there she wasted and died as well. To this day, anyone who enters the cave and calls her name may hear her answer. As for Narcissus, the ordinary maidens who loved him found his body and buried him there beside the cool, clear pond. Where he lay, there grew a flower, which they named Narcissus. All right, guys, so now you should be ready to answer the YouDo and the WeDo for day 11.